Captain Lee Taeho was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming. The hot liquid spilled across his uniform as he jumped from his chair in the command center of the United Earth Defense Station Aegis. Red lights flashed everywhere, and his officers were shouting reports from their stations. "Captain, we have massive contacts at the edge of the solar system," called out Lieutenant Park Dong-min from the sensor station. His voice was shaking. 12 ships, sir. Each one is bigger than our largest battleship." Lee Taeho wiped the coffee from his shirt and walked quickly to the main display. The screen showed 12 enormous vessels arranged in a perfect formation near Neptune's orbit. They were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. The ships looked like they were made of crystal and metal, glowing with soft blue light. "Are they moving toward us?" Lee Taeho asked. "No, sir. They're just sitting there." "And Captain?" Park Dong-min paused, checking his readings again. "They're broadcasting something. It's not in any human language, but our computers are translating it." "Put it on the main speakers." A strange musical voice filled the command center. The words were clear, but the accent was completely alien. "Greetings, people of Earth. We come in peace. We are the Galactic Protection Council. We wish to speak with your leaders about a matter of great importance. Your world is in danger." Lee Taeho felt his stomach tighten. Every person on Earth had grown up with stories about first contact with aliens. Most of those stories ended badly for humanity. But these aliens were asking to talk, not attacking. "Send an immediate message to Earth Command," he ordered. "Tell them we need Ambassador Park So-young and the first contact team up here immediately. Also wake up President Yu Danby. She's going to want to hear this." 3 hours later, Ambassador Park So-young arrived on the Aegis along with Dr. Kim Hyun-woo, Earth's best scientist who studied the possibility of alien life. Park So-young was a small woman with sharp eyes who had spent years preparing for this moment. Dr. Kim was tall and thin, always carrying a tablet full of notes and theories. "Have they said anything else?" Park So-young asked as soon as she stepped onto the bridge. "They keep repeating the same message every hour," Lee Taeho replied. "They want to talk, and they say we're in danger." Dr. Kim was already studying the alien ships on the display. "Look at the design," he said excitedly. "Those ships are built for long space travel, not for war. See how smooth they are? No obvious weapons. If they wanted to attack us, they would have done it already." Park So-young nodded. "Captain, please open a channel to their lead ship." The main screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at the inside of an alien ship. The being standing before them was tall and thin, made of what looked like living crystal. Its body glowed with the same blue light as their ships. When it spoke, its voice was like wind chimes. "I am High Counselor Velthara of the Galactic Protection Council. We have been watching your world for some time, waiting for you to develop the technology that would make you visible to other things." "Other things?" Park So-young asked. "What do you mean?" Velthara's crystalline face somehow managed to look sad. "Your people have recently developed faster-than-light communication. This is wonderful for you, but it also means that the Devourers can now find your world." Dr. Kim stepped forward. "What are Devourers?" "They are the greatest threat our galaxy has ever known," Velthara replied. "They move from star system to star system, consuming entire civilizations. They eat everything, the people, the planets, even the stars themselves. Nothing survives when the Devourers come." Lee Taeho felt a chill run down his spine. "How do you know about them?" "Because the Galactic Protection Council has been fighting them for over 1,000 years. We are a union of 12 different species, all working together to protect the innocent worlds of the galaxy. We have kept the Devourers away from hundreds of civilizations." Park So-young crossed her arms. "And what does this protection cost?" Velthara tilted its head. "Cost? We ask only for cooperation. Protected worlds must give up their military weapons. They are useless against the Devourers anyway. We also ask that you accept council oversight of your government and technology development. This ensures that you do not accidentally attract more Devourers. You want us to give up our armies and let you control our world," Lee Taeho said flatly. "We want to save your lives." Velthara replied. "The Devourers have destroyed civilizations far more advanced than yours. Your weapons, your ships, your defenses, they mean nothing to creatures that can eat stars. Only the Council's protection can save you." Dr. Kim was taking notes furiously on his tablet. "How exactly does your protection work?" "We place a barrier around protected worlds that hides them from Devourer senses. We also maintain a fleet of ships that can respond quickly if the Devourers somehow find a protected world. But this only works if the world cooperates fully with Council rules. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Then Park So-young asked, "How long do we have to decide?" "The Devourers move slowly, but they move constantly. Once they detect your communication signals, they will begin traveling toward Earth. That journey might take them 10 years, or it might take them 50. We cannot know for certain. We'll need to discuss this with our leaders," Park So-young said. "Of course, but please do not take too long. Every day you wait is a day closer to disaster." The alien transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. 2 hours later, President Yu Danby sat in the emergency meeting room deep beneath the capital city. Around the table were the most important people in the human government: military leaders, scientists, and diplomats. The room was full of worried faces. "So let me understand this correctly," President Yu said slowly. "These aliens are offering to protect us from other aliens that want to eat our planet." "That's correct, Madam President," Park So-young replied. "But the price is our independence. We would have to give up our military and accept their control over our government." General Choi Min-ho, the head of Earth's military, slammed his hand on the table. "This is insane. We don't even know if these Devourers really exist. These Council aliens could be lying to trick us into surrendering." Dr. Kim shook his head. "The readings from their ships show they're telling the truth about their technology. They really are from an advanced galactic civilization. But that doesn't mean they're telling the truth about everything else," Intelligence Officer Nam Ji-soo added quietly. She was a small woman who rarely spoke, but when she did, people listened. "Something about this doesn't feel right." President Yu stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see people going about their normal lives, not knowing that alien ships were waiting at the edge of their solar system. "Bring Velthera back on the communication system," she ordered. "I have a question for them." 10 minutes later, the alien's crystalline face appeared on the meeting room screen. "High Counselor Velthara," President Yu said politely. "Thank you for your generous offer of protection." "You are most welcome. Have you decided to accept our help?" President Yu smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that made other world leaders nervous during difficult negotiations. "I have one simple question first," she said. "You want to protect us from these Devourers. But I need to know, protection from what exactly?" Velthera's crystalline face flickered on the screen. For a moment, the alien seemed confused by President Yu's question. I do not understand," Velthera said slowly. "We wish to protect you from the Devourers." "I have explained this already." President Yu leaned forward. "Yes, but what exactly are these Devourers? What do they look like? How do they destroy planets? Give me details." The alien paused for several seconds. "They are creatures of great darkness. They consume everything in their path. No world has survived their coming." "That's not very specific," General Choi Min-ho said from across the table. "The details are not important," Velthara replied quickly. "What matters is that they are coming, and only the Council can protect you." After the transmission ended, President Yu turned to her advisors. "I want every piece of information about these aliens that we can get. Dr. Kim, analyze everything about their technology and biology. Nam Ji-soo, I want you listening to every communication signal coming from those ships. General Choi, prepare our defenses but don't do anything aggressive." Over the next 3 days, the team worked without rest. Dr. Kim Hyun-woo spent hours studying recordings of the alien ships and communications. What he found was interesting. "Their technology is definitely advanced," he reported to the president. "But it's strange. Look at these readings." He showed her data from the alien ships on his tablet. Their weapon systems are designed to look impressive, but they're not very powerful. It's like they built them for show rather than actual fighting. "What do you mean?" President Yu asked. "Their energy weapons could destroy one of our ships, yes, but they couldn't fight a real space battle against a prepared enemy. And look at their ship designs. They're built for intimidation and long-distance travel, not combat." Intelligence Officer Nam Ji-soo had been even more busy. She had teams of experts listening to every signal coming from the alien fleet. What they discovered made everyone uncomfortable. "They're not just talking to us," she reported. "They're sending messages back to somewhere else in the galaxy. But here's the strange part. They're using old communication technology." "Really old? How old?" General Choi asked. "At least 300 years old, maybe more, for a civilization that's supposedly been fighting these Devourers for 1,000 years. They're using very outdated equipment. Dr. Kim nodded. I've been thinking about that too. And there's something else. I've been studying their description of the Devourers and it doesn't make sense. He pulled up his notes on the main screen. They say the Devourers eat entire star systems, including the stars themselves. But that's impossible. Nothing in the universe can actually consume a star. The physics just don't work. President Yu frowned. Maybe they're speaking metaphorically? Maybe, or maybe they're lying. Nam Jisoo cleared her throat. There's more. I've been analyzing the language patterns in their communications. When Velthara talks about the Devourers, the alien uses very general terms. But when it talks about council technology and procedures, it gives very specific details. Like someone who's lying about one thing but telling the truth about another, General Choi said. Exactly. The next day, Ambassador Park So-young met with Velthara again. This time she asked much more detailed questions. High Counselor, when was the last Devourer attack on a council world? Velthara's glow seemed to dim slightly. The attacks happen regularly. We are always fighting them. But when was the last one? Give me a specific time. Time is difficult to measure across different worlds. Approximately then. The Council has been successful in preventing attacks for some time now. Park So-young made a note. How long is some time? Many years. How many years? Velthara was quiet for a long moment. Several hundred years. Back on Earth, the team gathered to discuss this new information. Several hundred years? President Yu repeated. They haven't fought these Devourers for hundreds of years, but they're still afraid of them? Dr. Kim was studying data from the Council ships again. I've been looking at their technology more carefully. These aliens show signs of what we call evolutionary stagnation. Meaning what? General Choi asked. Meaning they haven't had to adapt or improve for a very long time. Their technology works, but it's not innovative. It's like they've been using the same designs for centuries without any reason to change them. Engineer Ko Soo-jin, who had been quietly working at her computer, suddenly looked up. I think I know why, she said. Everyone turned to look at her. Ko Soo-jin was young for such an important job, but she was brilliant with technology. I've been studying the technical specifications they gave us about their protection systems, she continued. The energy requirements are huge, much bigger than they need to be for actual protection. So? President Yu asked. So they're not just protecting worlds from outside threats, they're controlling them. The same energy barriers that supposedly keep Devourers out would also prevent any ships from leaving the protected worlds. The room was silent as everyone understood what she meant. They're not protectors, General Choi said slowly. They're jailers, Nam Jisoo nodded. And I think I know why. I've been intercepting more of their communications. They're not just talking to their homeworlds. They're coordinating with other council fleets around other star systems. She brought up a map of the galaxy on the main screen. Red dots showed where they had detected council communications. Look at this pattern. They have fleets positioned around dozens of star systems. All of them are around worlds that have recently developed advanced technology. Dr. Kim stared at the map. They're not fighting an enemy. They're building an empire. President Yu walked to the window again. Outside, she could see construction crews working on new buildings. Children playing in parks. People living their lives in freedom. So the Devourers might not even exist, she said. Or they existed a long time ago, and the Council defeated them, Dr. Kim replied. But instead of celebrating, they realized that fear of the Devourers was the perfect way to control other civilizations. Think about it, Ko Soo-jin added. If you're afraid of some terrible enemy, you'll give up your freedom to whoever promises to protect you. You'll let them control your government, your military, your technology development? General Choi stood up, and after a few generations you forget that you were ever free. You become completely dependent on your protectors. Nam Jisoo pulled up another file. I've been studying the communication patterns from the worlds under council protection. Their technology hasn't advanced in hundreds of years. Their populations are carefully controlled. They send regular reports to the council about everything they do. They're slaves, President Yu said quietly. Willing slaves who think they're being protected. Ambassador Park So-young had been listening to all of this with growing anger. We need to confront them with what we've learned. Not yet, President Yu said. First, I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. Dr. Kim, keep analyzing their technology. Nam Jisoo, keep listening to their communications. Kosu Jin, I want you to design some improvements to our own defenses. What kind of improvements? Kosu Jin asked. President Yu smiled. It was still not a happy smile. The kind that will show these council aliens that humanity doesn't need protection from imaginary monsters. Over the next 2 days, more disturbing information came to light. The Council's protected worlds were required to send regular shipments of resources to Council worlds. They couldn't develop new technology without Council approval. They couldn't even communicate with each other directly. All messages had to go through Council systems, but most disturbing of all was what Nam Jisoo discovered in the deepest level of Council. Communications, they're scared, she reported. Not of devourers, of us. What do you mean? President Yu asked. I intercepted a priority message from Velthera to the Council leadership. They're worried that humanity is too independent, too aggressive. They're afraid that if we refuse their protection, other species might start asking questions too. Dr. Kim looked up from his analysis. That explains why they're being so pushy. They need us to accept their protection quickly before we figure out the truth, and before other civilizations realize they've been living a lie for centuries, General Choi added. President Yu sat down at her desk and began writing. It's time to give the Galactic Protection Council our answer. President Yu Danby stood in the main communication room, surrounded by her entire leadership team. On the screen in front of them, High Counselor Velthara waited patiently, its crystalline form glowing with that same blue light. High Counselor, President Yu began, her voice calm and professional. We have carefully considered your generous offer of protection. Excellent, Velthara replied. We are pleased that you have made the wise choice. Our ships are ready to begin installing the protection barriers around your world immediately. President Yu smiled. Actually, we've decided to decline your offer. The alien's glow flickered. For a moment, there was complete silence on both sides of the communication link. I do not understand, Velthara finally said. You are refusing our protection? That's correct, but the devourers will come. Your world will be destroyed. General Choi Minho stepped forward. High Counselor, in over 1,000 years of Council history, how many species have ever refused your protection? Velthara's form seemed to dim even more. None. No species has ever been foolish enough to refuse our help. Foolish? President Yu repeated. That's an interesting word choice for someone offering help. Ambassador Park So-young joined the conversation. We've been studying your records, High Counselor. You say the Council has been fighting the Devourers for 1,000 years. But the last actual attack was over 300 years ago. We have been successful in our protection efforts, Velthara said quickly. Or, Dr. Kim Hyunwoo said, stepping into view, the Devourers were defeated centuries ago, and you've been using fear of them to control other civilizations ever since. The alien's glow flared brightly, then dimmed to almost nothing. That is not true. The Devourers remain a constant threat. Then show us proof, President Yu said simply. Show us recordings of recent attacks. Show us captured Devourer technology. Show us anything that proves they still exist. Velthara was quiet for a long time. The Council does not need to prove anything to primitive species. Primitive? General Choi laughed. High Counselor, we've analyzed your ships. Your weapons are designed for intimidation, not combat. Your technology hasn't been updated in centuries. You're not warriors. You're bureaucrats. How dare you? Velthara's voice became sharp and angry. The Council has maintained peace in this galaxy for a millennium. You've maintained control, Intelligence Officer Nam Jisoo corrected. There's a difference. President Yu held up her hand for silence. High Counselor, we appreciate your concern for our safety, but humanity has a long history of dealing with our own problems. You do not understand the danger, Velthara insisted. Your weapons, your ships, your defenses, they are nothing compared to the power of the Devourers. Dr. Bae Wan-young, Earth's chief military strategist, smiled. That's where you're wrong, High Counselor. You see, you've been telling civilizations for centuries that their weapons are useless, so they stopped developing them. But humanity? We've never stopped preparing for war. Preparing for war? Velthara sounded confused. Every human child grows up with stories about alien invasions, General Choi explained. We've been imagining ways to fight superior alien forces for hundreds of years. We've built our entire defense strategy around the assumption that someday, something bigger and scarier than us would come to Earth. Engineer Ko Soo-jin activated the main display, showing technical specifications for Earth's defense systems. We've spent centuries developing weapons specifically designed to fight enemies with superior technology. Your ships are larger than ours, President Yu continued. But size isn't everything. Our weapons are designed to punch holes in things much bigger than themselves. Commander Shin Arin, who commanded Earth's space fighter squadrons, stepped forward. Would you like a demonstration, High Counselor? A demonstration of what? Of why humanity doesn't need protection. President Yu nodded to Commander Shin, who activated her communicator. All defense stations, this is command. Begin demonstration protocol. On the screen, they could see Velthera looking around nervously as alerts began sounding on the alien bridge. What are you doing? Velthara demanded. We're showing you what we've built while you were playing protector to the galaxy, General Choi replied. Through the Council ship's own sensors, they watched as Earth's defense platforms came online. Hidden weapons systems revealed themselves throughout the solar system. Ships that had been disguised as asteroids powered up their engines. Missile batteries that had been buried on moons began targeting the Council fleet. This is impossible, Velthera whispered. Our sensors showed only primitive defenses. Our sensors show only what we want them to show, Nam Jisoo said smugly. We've been studying your scanning technology since you arrived. It's very easy to fool. Dr. Kim pulled up another display. High Counselor, your ships are beautiful, but they're designed by people who haven't fought a real war in centuries. Look at these structural weaknesses. Red lines appeared on the image of the Council ships, highlighting vulnerable points in their construction. Our weapons are designed to exploit exactly these kinds of weaknesses, Engineer Ko Soo-jin added. We've been building them for 300 years, ever since we first detected radio signals from space and realized we weren't alone. President Yu walked closer to the screen. You see, High Counselor, you made a mistake. You assumed that because other species gave up their weapons, humanity would too. But we're different. Different how? Velthara asked weakly. We don't trust easily, General Choi said. When someone shows up claiming they want to help us, our first instinct is to figure out what they really want. Ambassador Park So-young nodded. And when someone tries to scare us into giving up our freedom, we start asking uncomfortable questions. Questions like why a galactic civilization uses communication technology that's centuries out of date, Nam Jisoo added. Or why beings who claim to be protectors know so little about the enemies they're supposedly fighting, Dr. Kim continued. Or why every world under Council protection has the same pattern, no military, no technological advancement, and complete dependence on the Council, Ko Soo-jin finished. Velthara's form was now barely glowing at all. You do not understand. The galaxy needs order. Without the Council, there would be chaos. Maybe, President Yu said. Or maybe there would be freedom. Maybe there would be growth and progress, and civilizations that could actually defend themselves instead of hiding behind someone else's protection. The other species are happy under our protection, Velthara protested. Are they? Nam Jisoo asked. Or do they just not remember what it was like to be free? Commander Shin Arin smiled. High Counselor, would you like to see what our fighter pilots can do? We've been practicing combat maneuvers against superior forces for decades. That won't be necessary, Velthara said quickly. Actually, I think it will, President Yu said. Commander Shin launched 2 squadrons. Show them our capabilities, but don't actually fire on their ships. Yes, Madam President. Within minutes, small, fast human fighters were swarming around the massive Council ships. The aliens watched in growing alarm as the tiny craft moved with impossible speed and precision. Their weapons locked onto critical systems of every Council vessel. How are they so fast? Velthara asked in amazement. We've been preparing for this moment for 3 centuries, Commander Shin replied over the communication system. Every human pilot trains to fight enemies with better technology and bigger ships. But your ships are so small, Velthara protested. Small things can kill big things, General Choi said. We learned that from studying Earth's history. David beat Goliath with a sling and a stone. President Yu stepped back in front of the screen. High Counselor, here's our counteroffer. If these devourers of yours are real and they do show up, humanity will fight them. We don't need your protection. And if they're not real, Dr. Bae Won-young added, then we have nothing to worry about. But what if you're wrong? Velthara asked desperately. What if the devourers do return? President Yu's smile was fierce and proud. Then the galaxy will finally see what happens when someone threatens a species that never stopped learning how to fight. The communication ended, leaving the Council fleet alone at the edge of the solar system. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Galactic Protection Council had been told no. And for the first time in 3 centuries, they were genuinely afraid. 3 days after humanity's rejection of Council protection, Intelligence Officer Nam Jisoo was working late in her office when her computer started flashing with urgent alerts. She had been monitoring Council communications constantly, and something big was happening. "Get President Yu on the line," she called to her assistant. "And wake up General Choi, they need to see this immediately." Within an hour, the emergency meeting room was full again. President Yu Danby sat at the head of the table, looking tired but alert. Around her were all the key leaders: General Choi Min-ho, Dr. Kim Hyun-woo, Ambassador Park So-young, and the rest of the team. "What did you find?" President Yu asked. Nam Jisoo activated the main screen. "I've been intercepting Council communications for days. Most of it was routine reports and status updates. But 3 hours ago, everything changed." She played an audio recording. The voices were alien, but the computer translation was clear. High Counselor Velthera to Council Central Command. "The humans have refused protection." Repeat, "The humans have refused protection. This is unprecedented." "Requesting immediate guidance," another alien voice responded. "Central Command to Velthera. This cannot be allowed. If other species learn that protection can be refused, our entire system will collapse. What are your orders?" "Contain the human threat. Use whatever force is necessary." General Choi leaned forward. "They're planning to attack us." "It gets worse," Nam Jisoo continued. She played another recording. This message was sent to every Council fleet in the galaxy. "Emergency Protocol 7 is now in effect. The species of Earth has become a threat to galactic stability. All available ships are to proceed to the Sol system immediately. The human problem must be solved before it spreads." Dr. Kim looked confused. "Before it spreads? What does that mean?" Nam Jisoo smiled grimly. "I found out. Listen to this." The next recording was from a different Council ship speaking to someone on a protected world. "Valkyrie Station to Zephyr Colony. Be advised that communication with the Sol system is now forbidden. Do not attempt to contact the human species. Zephyr Colony to Valkyrie Station." "Why, what has happened?" There was a long pause before the Council ship responded. "The humans have rejected Council protection. They claim they do not need our help." "They refused protection? Is that possible?" "No, it is not possible. The humans are clearly suffering from some form of mental illness. Do not listen to anything they might try to tell you." The meeting room was quiet as everyone absorbed this information. "They're trying to keep the truth from spreading," Ambassador Park So-young said slowly. "Because they know what will happen if other species find out." President Yu replied. Dr. Kim was studying data on his tablet. "Nam Jisoo, how many Council ships are heading toward Earth?" "At least 40 that I've detected." "Maybe more," General Choi whistled. "That's more than 3 times the size of their original fleet." "They're not here to negotiate anymore," President Yu said. "They're here to silence us." Engineer Ko Soo-jin looked up from her computer. "Madam President, I've been analyzing the technical data we gathered from their ships. I think I know why they're so desperate to stop us." "Explain." "The Council's entire power structure depends on species believing they need protection. If that belief breaks down, the Council becomes just another group of aliens with old technology and outdated ships." Dr. Bae Wan-young nodded. "And we've proven that their technology isn't as advanced as they claimed. If word gets out that humanity not only refused their protection, but could actually fight their ships, other species might start wondering why they need protection too." President Yu finished. Nam Jisoo pulled up another file. "It's already starting. I've intercepted several messages from protected worlds asking their Council overseers about the humans. The questions are making the Council very nervous." "Good," General Choi said. "Let them be nervous." But President Yu looked worried. 40 ships is a lot even for us." "General, are we really prepared for that kind of fight?" "We're about to find out," General Choi replied. "But Madam President, I think we're missing the bigger picture here." "What do you mean?" General Choi stood up and walked to the star map on the wall. "The Council isn't just afraid of us. They're afraid of what we represent. For 1,000 years, they've been telling the galaxy that protection is the only way to survive. We've proven that's a lie. Dr. Kim looked up from his tablet. General Choi is right, and I think I've found proof. He activated his own display showing biological data from the Council species. I've been studying the health records that Velthara gave us about Council worlds. Look at these patterns. The data showed declining birth rates, reduced genetic diversity, and signs of evolutionary stagnation across all Council species. They're not just controlling other civilizations, Dr. Kim explained. They're slowly destroying them. Species under Council protection show clear signs of genetic decline. Within a few more centuries, most of them will be extinct. They're killing the galaxy, President Yu whispered. Not intentionally, Dr. Kim replied, but by removing all challenges, all threats, all reasons to grow and adapt, they've created a galaxy full of dying civilizations. Nam Jisoo nodded. And we're the first species in centuries that's strong enough to break free. Ambassador Park So-young had been quiet during this discussion, but now she spoke up. There's something else we need to consider. If we fight the Council and win, we become responsible for all those protected worlds. What do you mean? President Yu asked. Think about it. If the Council collapses, what happens to the hundreds of species that depend on them? They've forgotten how to defend themselves, how to innovate, how to be independent. They'll be helpless, General Choi frowned. So we're supposed to let the Council continue enslaving them? No, President Yu said firmly. But Park So-young is right. If we're going to tear down the Council system, we need to be ready to help build something better. Engineer Ko Soo-jin looked excited. What if we don't have to fight all 40 ships? Everyone turned to look at her. I've been thinking about what Nam Jisoo discovered. The Council is desperately trying to prevent other species from learning the truth about us. What if we made sure they learned it anyway? How? General Choi asked. We broadcast everything. Every piece of evidence we've found about the Council's lies. Every detail about how their protection system really works. We send it directly to every protected world in the galaxy. Dr. Kim's eyes lit up. And we do it on the same communication frequencies the Council uses. They won't be able to stop it without shutting down their entire network. Nam Jisoo was already typing on her computer. I can set up the broadcast system, but we'll need time to reach every world in the galaxy. How much time? President Yu asked. At least 6 hours for full coverage. General Choi looked at the tactical display showing the approaching Council fleet. They'll be here in 4 hours. Then we'll have to hold them off for 6 hours, President Yu said simply. Madam President, Commander Shin Arin said over the intercom. We're detecting massive energy signatures from the Council fleet. They're charging weapons. President Yu stood up. General Choi, prepare all defenses. Commander Shin, scramble every fighter squadron we have. Ko Soo-jin, I want every defensive system online. And Nam Jisoo, she added, turning to the intelligence officer. Start broadcasting. Tell the galaxy the truth about their protectors. As the team rushed to their positions, President Yu walked to the window and looked up at the stars. Somewhere up there, 40 alien warships were coming to destroy humanity for the crime of refusing to be enslaved. But also up there were hundreds of worlds full of people who had been living in fear for centuries, believing they needed protection from monsters that no longer existed. Let's see what happens, she said quietly. When the galaxy learns it's been free all along. The broadcast began exactly as the Council fleet entered Earth's outer defenses. Nam Jisoo had worked for 3 hours straight to set up the transmission system. Now her voice, translated into dozens of alien languages, was being sent to every protected world in the galaxy. People of the galaxy, her message began. For centuries you have lived in fear of the Devourers. You have given up your freedom, your weapons, your independence, all for protection from creatures that want to consume your worlds. On the bridge of the defense station, Aegis, Captain Lee Tae-ho watched the Council ships approach. They moved in perfect formation, their crystal hulls glowing with weapon energy. We are humanity. Nam Jisoo's broadcast continued. 3 days ago, the Galactic Protection Council offered us the same protection they gave you. We asked them a simple question. Protection from what, exactly? The first Council ships opened fire on Earth's outer defense platforms. Blue energy beams lashed out across space, striking the human installations. But the platforms didn't explode as expected. Instead, they absorbed the energy and fired back with twice the power. The Council could not answer our question. Nam Jisoo's voice reached across the galaxy. Because the Devourers they claim to protect you from have been dead for over 300 years. On protected worlds throughout the galaxy, people stopped what they were doing to listen. On the water world of Aquanus, the fish-like Pelamari gathered around their communication centers. On the crystal moon of Veltar, the insect-like Zeknari translated the message for their hive minds. The Council has been lying to you, the broadcast continued. They defeated the Devourers centuries ago, but instead of telling you the truth, they realized that fear was the perfect way to control entire civilizations. High Counselor Velterra stood on the bridge of the lead council ship, watching in horror as the human defenses tore through the first wave of attackers. 3 council ships were already destroyed, their crystal hulls cracked and bleeding atmosphere into space. "Shut down that broadcast," Velthara commanded. "We cannot," replied the ship's communication officer. "They are using our own network against us. To stop them, we would have to shut down all communication in the galaxy." Captain Lee Teho smiled as he watched the council formation break apart under human fire. "All fighter squadrons begin attack pattern Alpha. Show them what 3 centuries of war preparation looks like." Hundreds of small human fighters swarmed out from hidden bases throughout the solar system. They moved like angry insects, too fast and too small for the Council's outdated targeting systems to track effectively. "You have been prisoners," Nam Jisu's broadcast continued, "and you didn't even know it. Your technology has not advanced in centuries because the Council won't let it. Your populations are controlled because the Council decides how many of you can exist. Your worlds send resources to Council planets because the Council demands tribute. On the forest world of Green Hollow, the tree-like Silvani began to remember stories their ancestors had told about the time before the Council. On the desert planet of Sandstorm, the nomadic Durrani realized that their ancestors had once built cities in spacecraft. Commander Shin A-Rin led her fighter squadron in a devastating attack on the Council's largest ship. Her pilots had trained their entire lives for this moment, and it showed. They flew through the alien weapon fire like it was standing still, striking critical systems with precision that amazed even themselves. "The Council ships are powerful," the broadcast explained, "but they are designed to intimidate, not to fight real wars. Their weapons have not been updated in centuries because they have not fought real enemies in centuries. They are bureaucrats pretending to be warriors." Velthara watched another Council ship explode under human attack and felt something that no Council member had felt in generations: genuine fear. "All ships, retreat to safe distance," Velthara commanded. "High Counselor, we outnumber them," protested the fleet commander. "Look at your tactical display," Velthara replied bitterly. "We have lost 12 ships and they have lost none. These humans are not like the others." As the Council fleet pulled back, Nam Jisu's broadcast reached its conclusion. "We are not asking you to fight. We are not asking you to rebel. We are simply telling you the truth. The monsters you fear are gone. The protection you think you need is actually slavery, and somewhere in your hearts you have always known this." Dr. Kim Hyunwoo was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. What he saw made him smile. "President Yu, you need to see this," he called. On the main screen, messages were appearing from dozens of worlds. The translations were rough, but the meaning was clear. "Aquanus Station to Council Fleet Gamma. We withdraw our request for protection renewal. Veltar Colony to Council Central. We demand an explanation for the human claims. Green Hollow Defense Command to all Council ships. Leave our system immediately." More and more messages appeared. Worlds that had been under Council protection for centuries were suddenly asking questions, demanding answers, refusing orders. President Yu Danbi watched the display with growing amazement. "It's working. They're waking up." Ambassador Park So-young was coordinating with Earth's diplomatic teams. "Madam President, we're receiving direct communication requests from 47 different species. They want to know more about what we've discovered." General Choi Min-ho looked up from his tactical display. "The Council fleet is regrouping for another attack, but they've also received emergency calls from 17 different systems. Their empire is falling apart." On the bridge of the Council flagship, Velthara received a priority message from Council Central Command. "High Counselor, multiple protected worlds are refusing Council authority. The Silvani have activated weapon systems we didn't know they had. The Pelmari are demanding the removal of all Council ships from their system. What are your orders?" Velthara looked at the tactical display showing the human defenses. Even with the element of surprise and superior numbers, the The Council fleet had been defeated. And now, thanks to the human broadcast, the entire Galactic Empire was collapsing. Send a communication request to the human leadership, Velthara said quietly. High Counselor, we need to negotiate. An hour later, President Yu stood in the communication room facing Velthara's image on the screen. The alien looked different now, smaller somehow, less intimidating. You have destroyed us, Velthara said simply. No, President Yu replied. We've freed everyone, including you. Freed us? We were the protectors of the galaxy. You were the jailers of the galaxy, General Choi corrected. And you were prisoners too. When was the last time your people created something new? When did you last explore a new world or make a scientific discovery? Velthara was quiet for a long time. We maintained order. You maintained control, Dr. Kim said. There's a difference. President Yu stepped closer to the screen. High Counselor, we're not your enemies. We never were. But we won't be your subjects either. What happens now? Velthara asked. Now we build something better, President Yu replied. Not a galactic empire based on fear, but a true alliance based on cooperation and mutual respect. Ambassador Park So-young activated another display. We're calling it the Free Species Alliance. Any world that wants to join is welcome. We'll share technology, coordinate defenses, and explore the galaxy together. But no one species will control the others. General Choi added. No one will be forced to give up their weapons or their independence. Engineer Ko Sujin smiled. And if real threats do appear, new devourers or something else, we'll face them together as equals, not as masters and slaves. Velthara's crystalline form seemed to brighten slightly. And the Council species? What becomes of us? You're invited to join the Alliance, President Yu said. Your technology and experience could be valuable if you're willing to work with others instead of controlling them. Some of your people have already contacted us, Nam Jisoo added. The younger council members are very interested in learning about freedom. Over the following months, the galaxy transformed. The council's empire collapsed completely as world after world declared independence. Some council members, led by a young crystal being named Velthek, joined humanity in building the Free Species Alliance. Captain Lee Taeho found himself commanding not just human ships, but vessels from dozens of different species, all working together to explore the galaxy and defend each other from real threats. Dr. Kim Hyun-woo established research centers where species could work together on new technologies, advancing faster in 1 year than the Council had in centuries. And when long-range sensors detected something moving in the empty space between galaxies, something that might be a new threat or might be nothing at all, humanity didn't panic. Commander Shin, Erin stood on the bridge of the Alliance flagship, looking at the sensor readings with her mixed crew of humans and aliens. Unknown contact at the edge of our galaxy, her sensor operator reported. It's big, Captain. Really big, Shin Erin smiled. Around her, crew members from a dozen different species worked together at their stations. In the months since the Alliance formed, they had become a real team. Any signs of hostile intent? She asked. None detected, but it's definitely coming this way. All right then, Shin Erin said calmly. Send a welcome message.